So, good morning to everyone. I'm happy to be your Friday broadcast morning events that I host very regular on LinkedIn and Facebook. And it is my pleasure actually to use this morning time to share some important information, insights, and to discuss some topics which are usually of great importance for the leaders and the organization. Today, it's wrong presentation. Yes, just a second. Let me switch to the right one. Just a second. Why did we use this one? Okay, sorry guys. The right one. Okay. Too many things in there, so yeah, we will be talking today about the employees' engagement and trends and tendencies. And why I have chosen this topic is that I do come across these questions quite a lot when we work with our clients. I work as a mentor, and we also work within my company, 𝐴𝐴𝐻, with an HR consultancy company. And this topic seems to be of great importance. People may formulate this differently. They may not always talk about the engagement, but they may ask questions about how do I get my team more aligned? How do I get my team more involved? How do I get the people more motivated so that they actually participate in the decision-making process, so they are more proactive? This is all related to the engagement topic, and I wanted to go through some of the big trends which are influencing pretty much any of the businesses, regardless of the scale and regardless of the size. Before I move forward, let me briefly introduce myself. My name is �İ𝐡𝐨 𝐒𝐿𝐿𝐵𝐿𝐿𝐵𝐿𝐿𝐵. I have been an entrepreneur for pretty much 20 years, all in all, with some steps aside, working a little bit for hire. But most of my life, I've been working with different sizes of the businesses in different roles. My origin is hospitality business. This is my passion. This is where I've started. And this is my DNA, I think. I'm the founder of the company called ProMark. We've been specializing on marketing services for hospitality industry providers, working for the airlines, rent-a-car companies, national tourist boards, which are governmental organizations. And I'm also the founder of 𝐴𝐴𝐻. This is a company, an HR consultancy, where we strive and help the people to get more aligned, and we make the teams more efficient. I'm a professional, and when I'm saying professional means that I'm certified and I'm well-trained and have enough experience. I'm a professional business trainer, moderator, facilitator, coach. I mean, in this capacity, I think all of the people who are related to people's development, we all study a lot, and I have multiple qualifications in different areas. I'm the holder of MBA. I'm the certified professional in behaviors in people's motivation analysis, and also part of my time I'm mentoring companies, teams, and also the startups and young entrepreneurs which are just starting, and I do that mainly on a pro bono basis. This is about me. With regards to the engagement, what we will be discussing today, I want to touch base a little bit on the subject of why engagement is important. I mean, there are many topics which are important for any organization, but why particular engagement is in the focus of the attention. We will talk about, I will guide you through the 4 major trends that you need to consider when we talk about engagement. And as mentioned at the very beginning, this is something that is influencing you regardless of the size of your organization. It is just there, okay? And you have to be aware, and you need to consider those major trends. And we will talk briefly about the challenges for the leaders. So knowing what you know about the trends and tendencies, okay, which are the challenges that you need to be aware of and consciously work with to make sure that your engagement is actually at the top. Now, talking about the when I was preparing for this stream, I was searching for some statistics. I love figures, actually. The funny thing is that I also know that you can actually find any data that would support your point of view. This is one thing. Secondly, figures are very, very tricky, and I came across one very interesting research that was provided by the company called 𝐶𝐨. They are providers of the platform for cultural dimensions and services, and they have a nice track of the engagement in different companies that they've been working with. And the title of this article was very one of those that are provoking your attention. So they say that the employment engagement has stabilized, regressing to pre-pandemic levels, blah, blah, blah. I know that, depending on what we are talking to, this 4 to 3% fluctuations can make a big difference. However, what actually caught my eye over here is not those fluctuations on a yearly basis. What I paid attention to is this thing. What you need to pay attention to and what you need to be aware is that by default, on very average, 70% of your employees, of your team members, are engaged. Okay, again, this is very much helicopter view. The different organizations are very, very much different. It's very much dependent on the industry and the situation in particular company. But per se, 70% of your employees are engaged. When people are actually being hired, when you join your team, your company, they have some positive motivation why they're joining you. They are having their hopes. They are also choosing sometimes between different employers. They have a choice usually. It is their conscious choice to join you. So they are engaged, and for some reason they're joining you. And they have positive intentions. In fact, they want to be performing. They want to be a valuable team member. They want to be helpful. They are motivated and they are engaged. The rest of the 30%, although in my eyes, I think this percentage is actually lower. Of course, there are people who are joining the companies because of the forced motivation. There are circumstances in their life that they have to go to a particular employer. There are situations where people are going through difficult times, and sometimes they are there are different life stories, let's put it that way. When we're talking about this 30%, it's not these people who are like protesting or they are sabotaging. No, it can be very passive employees, and some percentage of these people may be proactively disengaged. This is another topic. This may happen, but again, we are talking about, by default, you have about 70% of the people who are actually willing to be engaged. They are engaged, and one of our major tasks is to make sure that at least we maintain this level. Okay, in an ideal world, we want to increase this percentage and even make this remaining 30% engaged. So why is it important? Why this is actually this topic is being discussed by the HR professionals, by the team leaders? Usually the organizations with high engagement rate, the employees have higher autonomy, meaning that they are more decisive, they are more empowered, they are more as well, have higher responsibility, which means that you have to less micromanage, and you may rely more on your team members, ensuring that they are delivering and they're finding the solutions and that they are making sure that you are getting to the results that you want to. One more topic is that those organizations with high engagement rate, the team members are usually more empowered to do the discretionary efforts towards the results. Okay, it's more about internal drivers that actually make the people perform and make the people more aligned. And this only happens if you have a high engagement rate. Last but not least, the teams with high engagement rate are more resilient. And we are living in VUCA, whatever you call it, world. Something may happen like today or tomorrow. And if you're following the latest news, I mean, right now the things are happening just like that, and the decisions and the discussions which usually could have been taking years, they're sometimes changing the world in just one day. So this is obviously impacting the business to a certain extent. Some industries more, some are less, but these teams are more resilient. Okay, they are more aligned, they are stronger in making sure they are navigating through difficult times with resilience, and they are stronger, and they have the capacity to restore themselves from within. And probably the last thing about why engagement is important is that these teams and these organizations usually have a faster pace. Okay, there are fewer conflicts, there are rules of communication which are aligned, there is common understanding, where do we go, how do we go, there is trust in between the teams, and there is also belief in fairness of what's going on. So the engaged teams, they spend less time on let's say less productive communications and discussions, and they're more focused and they're more and better equipped for reaching results faster. Now, when we are talking about trends, one of the probably trends which having a stronger impact than anything else is, of course, the development of AI tools. These tools are influencing the job content, the skills that are required to do the job. It influences right now dramatically the speed of the service and processes delivery. There are a lot of industries that are being impacted by AI. And what I'm telling to our clients is that if you don't use AI at all, probably you are losing out, really. So I hardly can imagine the business or the industry where AI cannot be used to this certain to a certain extent. One of the examples is that in our company, we are right now working on the AI-powered post-training support, and this is the topic that is of great importance for most of the companies who are involved in training and development, and few of them actually are providing sustainable and nice, good working post-training support. So with AI, this is actually now becoming more possible than ever. We are introducing that in my company as well. We have changed a lot our approach to marketing. And I would say, looking at what some of our clients are doing, some of the jobs are being influenced drastically, meaning that some jobs are being cut. Okay, so this is also influencing the engagement, because what happens to your team is that those I wouldn't say destructive, it's not the right word, those implications of AI becoming more and more developed and becoming more and more used, this is influencing the way people are perceiving their job place. Is it safe or not? If I will have my job in 2 or 3 to 5 years, this is really, really very much important topic. And I hope you are using or introducing AI tools in your job. You need to also think about your team members and how this is impacting their lives and their jobs. Trend number two is generational impact. I know some of the professionals, especially in HR, are kind of skeptical about all of this concept of generations and millennials and Generation Z. I can give you an example of just my recent hire. Just recently, we have a new team member joining into our marketing team, and obviously he's out of this, millennials. And the funny thing is that, when we are having our new team member joining us, we are always discussing the rules of communication. How do we communicate to make sure that we are aligned? Like, for example, I wake up very early, and I may wake up with some brilliant thoughts about, and ideas and what we should be doing. So I may send a message to my team at 6 a.m. But I do explain that to everyone, that actually I'm not expecting you to react right away. It is just that I want to unload these ideas or thoughts right away, because this is when it's, when it's coming to my mind, it has the highest concentration. So I better, upload it into our discussions rather than park it and then I take it and I'm not even sure if it's relevant. So yeah, we are discussing things like that, and this is what I also usually insist on the leaders that we're working with. Make sure you are aligned on how you are communicating. So coming back to this story about this guy who is joining us, there was one question that I was kind of shocked in a way. He asked me, "When are your days off?" It's like, sorry, like during the week, when are your days off? And as soon as we will be communicating with him a lot, obviously it was a question about my days off. And I said, well, usually I have like weekends, like Saturday and Sunday. And he said, oh, this is fantastic, but please take a note that for me, my days off are Tuesday and Wednesday, because this is more convenient. I'm more productive. I hate weekends because there are a lot of people. So, and this is about how the people are actually having now the opportunity to kind of build their world around them. And I actually admire the younger generation, and my daughters are in their like 19s and 20s. When I talk to them, I'm amazed by the how smart they are, by the level of consciousness, by the way they are looking at the things that, I mean, we haven't been looking at the world this way before in at our age. So when we talk about the generations, I really urge you to pay attention to these trends. They are existent. You can't ignore them. These are, and I have the teams that we're working with that they have, I mean, the average age can be like 35, meaning that the youngest can be 20, the oldest can be 45. And there is a gap in the way people are processing the information, in the way they're building the relations, how they communicate, what is important to them. And you need to be aware of those differences and make sure as a leader that you are actually adapting the way you are communicating with your team, depending on the generation. One more thing to add into that is that we can actually learn from other generations, be it older or younger. Remember this wonderful movie with, oh my goodness, Trainee with Robert De Niro. Just watch it. I think it's amazing. It's a perfect example of like mentoring that can be both sides. So yeah, we can really learn a lot from each other. However, again, please think of that in a way how this is impacting your engagement and organizational culture. You can't ignore these things. They are there. Next, number 3 trend is work-life balance or blending. When I'm thinking about the work-life balance, I usually have this picture in my mind. It's about balancing, which is truly nice word. But when I think about balancing, it is something about putting a lot of efforts into actually keeping the thing like balanced. It requires a lot of attention, a lot of skills, a lot of control, a lot of training, and it looks like fragile. It's looking like it can be collapsed at any moment of time, of any blow of wind per se. And for me, this is frustrating. When I came to this thought, I realized, oh my goodness, what we're trying to achieve. And when we talk about work-life balance, it is actually about setting the boundaries. Okay, so, and I know some people who are actually coping quite well with that. They may kind of differentiate their office hours or working hours. And for some people, this model works perfectly well. Okay, I'm working from 10 to 6, then I'm not working. I'm not sure if it's a working model, really. I think what we're talking right now is more about work-life balance. And this might be looking like, the multiple recipes of your morning smoothie that you can cook in different ways. And this is also related to the generational impact, because the people right now, they want to have a choice and they believe they have a choice. And we do have a choice, actually. If you look at this picture attentively, I put it deliberately, I was searching for something like that deliberately, because if you look attentively over here, there are some elements of those different four types of smoothies, which are actually in there. It's the banana, I think it's pretty much in three of them. These are the oat flakes. Okay, so when we are talking about our work-life blending, actually there are some ingredients of our life which are in there for sure. It can be family, it can be your health, it can, something that is very much important and very much centric for yourself. But the other elements, they can come and go. And yeah, this is how we're living right now. We have the opportunity to create the world around us the way we want it to be. We can try different ingredients and different approaches, and it is no longer like expected that the profession that you have chosen at the beginning of your career, that you should be staying linked to that for the entire life. Of course, there are jobs which require like consistency from A to Z, and I'm thinking about my favorite hospitality business, like the work of the person at the front desk. You can't afford that to be like blended. I mean, you can add certain elements, but they must be those so-called, oat flakes or banana, which are there anyway. But you need to be able to add some flexibility, because otherwise you can't expect the people to work like robots. Okay, you need to make sure that even for the jobs which are kind of fixed, there is this opportunity for blending, because otherwise your engagement rates are decreasing and you can do nothing about that. It's just the expectation of the current workforce that they're having. One of the last, it is the last one on my list for today, but not less important. This is the factor and the trend, which I call the cultural diversity. We're living now in the world where actually you can employ the person in the other part of the world, and that would be a better choice for you than employing somebody who is living next door or in your native country. So this is first giving us more opportunities in terms of the choice, both on the employer side and employee side. At the same time, this has another impact, which is actually the teams are becoming more international, more culturally diverse. People are moving, in and out. I mean, it's our second country that we're living in. We're moving to our third country right now. My daughters are, studying in different countries. And the majority of companies that we are dealing with at the moment, they are in the international context, this way or another, either team-wise, where they have different nationalities and mixes and cultures, or business-wise, these are international business, global business, and it has now more opportunities than just being local business. And this is really impacting a lot the way we do things. This is impacting the way people are interacting within the teams, how we communicate, what are the I wouldn't say traditions, but what are the behavioral patterns which each one of the international team members are actually bringing into the spot, into the place, into the team's communication. And I remember a great example of the company that we've been working with here in UAE. It was a very multinational team with the leader being originally from Australia, and he had multiple different team members from China, Filipinos, Russian, and Italians, if I'm not mistaken. So they are actually applying to us saying that they found it really difficult to communicate because, and that was the challenge for the leader. He said, my usual pattern, and he was in his 50s. He said, my usual pattern stopped working. And he is a successful guy. He says, the way I'm used to communicate, the way I'm used to, and I'm trying to build the relationships, it's just not matching. I don't feel this, feedback that I kind of expect to feel, to get. And this is actually the impact of having multiple cultures in one pot. Because what happens is that when you put the different things into one pot, soup, is that these ingredients, they kind of influence each other, but still each one of the subcultures, they want to keep their identity. So you need to keep this in mind. You need to ignoring this factor actually and trying to get everybody working in the way we should be working here is not working. It's just not possible. You need to respect this cultural diversity to the extent that understanding the values of the people in your team, understanding how does it actually work on both sides, and how you can make sure that you're finding this way of communicating in a way that is actually bringing the results. Now, talking about the implications for the leaders now, okay, knowing what we know, what are the biggest challenges that we need to face and make sure we address that? First of all, those trends that we were talking through today imply that the leaders need to upgrade their communication intelligence skills. And when I'm talking about communication intelligence, this is really, really complex thing. This is about the behavioral aspect. This is about making sure you don't just try, but you know how to adapt your communication so that it is productive. It's about emotional intelligence as well, because I work with many leaders who are unfortunately ignoring the emotions and putting yourself, trying to manage their teams from the position that this is business. I mean, nothing personal, this is business. It's not really working that way, okay? So depending on your skill set and your experience and many other, depending on who you are actually, some of the communication skills really need to be perfected, and making sure that you are able to meet these challenges and be sensitive to those things that are happening within your team. With regards to the second challenge, which I think is really, really influencing a lot your engagement within the team, is making sure that as a leader, as an organization, as a company, you're actually providing safe psychological climate within for your team. What I mean by that, and actually this is a very, very complex thing that is difficult to measure. It is very much intuitive. It's like, if you ask your team members, do you feel safe working for us? Not even everybody is like, would be able to give you the answers right away, because it's a complex thing. And safe psychological climate means that there is trust within the team. There is a possibility for mistakes, and people know that they actually can make a mistake, but they wouldn't, be humiliated because of that. This is about keeping the promises. This is about the transparency of the decisions. This is about proper proportion of coaching leadership style and the autocratic leadership style, where you find the perfect blend, not balance, blend. Okay, so it is very, very complex. What is important is that the engagement rate is higher in these situations where the people feel safe within their company. They know that they will be taken care of. They know that they have the possibility to be who they are. They know that they are being respected. Next thing about the leaders' challenges is the making sure that you're curating the organizational culture that supports strategy. That means that organizational culture is in there regardless if you are taking care of that or not. It is in there. It exists. Even if you are thinking, okay, we are too small for that, or we are too big for that, whatever, it is in there. This is the way people are doing things in here, and if you're not taking care and not fostering the organizational culture the way you want it to be, usually it's being formulated the way people see that it is working. And based on our experience working for our with our clients, we actually, this requires quite a lot of efforts, conscious efforts, into building the organizational culture that actually supports the strategy. It is sometimes a painful process because this is where your organizational behavioral patterns are being asked. It's about questioning the leadership, styles and communication. It's about sometimes challenging the way you are approaching the decision-making process. It's a lot of things in there, but we have the tools to make sure that we are navigating our clients through these challenges. And the thing related to engagement, and this is more like a process thing, and this is like fundamental to make sure that you are maintaining your engagement rates, is the recruitment process, the onboarding process, the training, the evaluation that you have in place. It's about making sure that you hire the right people, and by right people, I mean the people who are actually can be productive within your particular organization. They have the skills, they have the motivation, they can blossom within your particular environment. So we're talking about getting the right people, making sure they are bringing them into the efficiency level fast as possible. And in my experience, the organizations which are making efforts in building this onboarding process, they are becoming faster, really, and it's easier then to work with the retention. It influences just incredibly a lot of things within your HR processes. Proper training, proper evaluation, personal development plans, career planning, things like that are critical for making sure you're working on your engagement. My dear colleagues, if you have any questions with regards to the engagement, I'm happy to answer your questions. Please feel free to reach out. Please feel free to share your opinion. I'm sure, there are many things, many other aspects that we may touch base with regards to the employees' engagement. My objective for today was to go through like the major things which are really critical, which are global, which are influencing any types of the sizes of the businesses. And I hope that today I provoked your thinking about the things which maybe you didn't think which are important, but they are important. And I will be happy to support you further. Our next stream will be in 2 weeks' time. We will talk about how to keep your energy, and by your, I mean yourself, you as leaders, and your team's energy, because this is influencing the engagement, the efficiency. This is an important topic to make sure that your team is performing at their best. And this is my passion. I really want your teams to be super great, better than now. I'm sure you're at a certain level and you're coping quite well, really. But my mission is to make sure that it is even better. So I'm here with you. Please stay in touch if you have any questions, concerns. If there are any topics that you think we should be talking through, please feel free to reach out. It would be my pleasure to respond and to continue the conversation. Have a great Friday. Happy St. Valentine's Day, by the way. It's a beautiful holiday today. I wish you to have a fantastic day. Stay in touch.